Captain America Brave New World is exactly what you would expect it to be. And that is both good and bad. Now, lately there's been kind of a trend of people just kind of like crapping on things just to do it. So I don't want to just sit here and talk negatively about the movie because there's a lot of things that I did genuinely love about this movie, which I'm definitely going to talk about. But on the flip side, there's definitely a lot that I didn't like about it. Now, the story, well, most of my issues are within the first half of the movie. And the biggest thing for me is kind of the story, the writing, the plot, the direction. Like, it's something that I think Marvel in general has suffered from pretty frequently and maybe more often than not since Phase 4. I don't know, it just wasn't there. But the thing with Captain America Brave New World is you can definitely tell that it's chopped up. And that's like the biggest thing. You can tell that this movie has been through a lot of just so much chopping. Like, we know originally it was going to be like this story, and then they cut it, and then it was going to be this story, and then they added Giancarlo Esposito for some things. So then they're like, well, we have to add these scenes, and then, oh, well, this doesn't make sense without this, we have to put this in there. We know that they chopped a lot of characters out of it, and some of the Serpent Society that was supposed to be in it wasn't in it. Like, you can tell the movie went through all of that. You can. And unfortunately, for the first half of the movie, I found myself most of the time on the borderline of being bored or actually being bored or going, well, that didn't exactly stick for me. Like, they tried to add like a lot of their dialogue, and a lot of the things that they say to each other sometimes are like pretty cheesy or just don't hit very well. Like, sometimes you can tell they're trying to talk to each other, like hype each other up, and you're just sitting there like, okay. Like, it didn't really hit for me. It might hit for some people, and that's great. But to me, the story just wasn't there for the first half of it. Maybe even to a little bit more of it. But the action wasn't there for me in the beginning either. Now, you can go online and see some scenes that Marvel Studios already released about, one of the opening scenes where both Captain America and the new Falcon, Joaquin Torres, are fighting people, hand-to-hand combat. And if you've heard what people have said about the hand-to-hand combat, you've probably heard that it's not too good, and it's not. I think back to Daredevil, the Netflix series. One thing I really loved about Daredevil is that he would have to really hit people a lot before they got knocked out, right? It was very real to me. It was like, he didn't just punch a guy one time and that person like fell on the ground and knocked out. I hate when movies do that. It's like one person fights five guys, he like punches them once or twice each, and they're like passed out, and that's it, they're done. They're no longer a threat, they're no longer a problem. I'm like, oh, come on, that's not real at all. Daredevil has, all the scenes have a tendency of, they get hit, they go away, they come back right away until he really pounds them down. And so with Captain America Brave New World, it's just nothing close to that. It's not even necessarily that people get hit and they go down too easily. It's that when they were fighting, it was very slow, and the choreography for it just didn't seem that good. So these were like my biggest qualms with it. That, and another Marvel problem, for some reason, CGI. Like, I don't understand. I really don't understand. It's Marvel Studios. It's Disney. It's like, what are we doing here? How, my brother was with me when I saw it, and he was like, what was that one movie that we saw forever ago with like the giant robots fighting like the kaijus and stuff? And I was like, Pacific Rim? He's like, dude, Pacific Rim has better CGI than this movie sometimes. It's not all the time. It's sometimes. But the problem is, it's so apparent when you see it. Like, there's this one part where the leader is talking to Sam, and you're just like watching it, and you're like, wow, that's bad. And you can just tell, like, it's a green screen, but it's done very well. It's very gritty. Like, all of it is like super gritty. Like, you can just tell it's like really bad. There's some parts where you see the Hulk, and like at the end, it's like Red Hulk does not look good. Like, it's not good. But then what's really weird is that there are parts where it looks fantastic. So again, I chalked it up to like reshoots, not having enough time. But at the same time, it's like, it's Marvel Studios, it's Disney. Like, y'all have to do better. I'm going to Sam Wilson you. You've got to do better when it comes to CGI and some of your projects. So sometimes it's just it's really not there. But on the flip side to that, like I said, sometimes it really is there. The consistency is what off. But once we get about halfway into the movie, I started to really enjoy it. Like, I really started to enjoy it. I thought it was really good. The fight sequence that takes place around Tiamat Island, I thought it was fantastic. I really did. The Red Hulk versus Captain America scene, I thought was pretty fantastic as well. There are some cheesy things that they throw in there, and it's not perfect by any means, but it has such hints of greatness in it all throughout the movie, and it does achieve greatness at some points during these scenes. And there are also a lot of emotional scenes in there that actually made me feel more emotional than I thought I would or was expecting to. For example, Isaiah Bradley, man, there's a part, I don't want to get into too much spoilers. I'll go into more spoilers at the end, but I'll give you a warning before I go into it. But there's a part where, you know, you've seen in the trailers, he attacks the president. And so, of course, you know, they're going to track him down. They're not just going to let him go. And so he talks about, he's like, I'm not going back. You can't put me back. And he gets really emotional. And they explain this in The Falcon and Winter Soldier, like he was like a hero in the war, but then America basically held him as a prisoner, experimented on him for 30 years. And then he finally got out and he's like, I'm not going back. And you're like, oh, gosh, man. You're like, yeah, like, dude, the dude spent 30 years locked up. He was experimented on. Imagine the fear of that's about to happen again. Like, yeah, like I totally get that. And there are some parts with the new Falcon, Joaquin Torres, and Sam Wilson that are pretty emotional as well and pretty relatable in all honesty. But they should have focused on those more. Like, if they really dove in a little bit more into those scenes, like focused on them for a longer period of time, I think the movie would have been a lot better. And obviously, if they just would have given us more Red Hulk. It was a really interesting thing going through this movie, watching the tease of Harrison Ford's Thunderbolt Ross, Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, like, you know, get angry. Everyone's like, oh, something's going on with him, but you don't necessarily know. But it's like, we all know he's going to turn into Red Hulk. So they kind of tease it, and then eventually he does, and you're like, okay, that's cool. We saw it in the trailers. So the buildup didn't feel as tense because it's like, okay, well, we know what's going on. He's going to turn into the Red Hulk. So I kind of think like they shouldn't have teased it so much. They shouldn't have put so much of Red Hulk out there with the trailers. It would have just felt a lot better. Don't get me wrong, it was still pretty awesome. Like, Red Hulk's awesome, and Harrison Ford and Anthony Mackie carried the movie. Like, they did, and it's their movie, so good for them, right? But to me, it would have been better if we didn't get so much Red Hulk in the trailers. But on the opposite side of that, I definitely understand why they put so much Red Hulk in it, because they're trying to get people to go watch the movie. And that is the selling point of the movie. Sam Wilson's Captain America versus Red Hulk. And that was the best part of the movie. And I thought it was really good. And I thought it was great how he kicked the crap out of him, right? It's like what you expect it to be, because you're like, okay, well, he's got this new vibranium suit. But at the same time, it's like, well, what if he jumps on you? Like, is that going to keep him from crushing you? What if he just kicks you across, you know, the world? Like, how is that going to, you know what I mean? Will it still help? And they basically show you, they're like, I mean, it kind of helps, but not really, you know? So overall, I thought when it shined, it really, really shined. It was unfortunately kind of boring in the beginning for me, but once it got going, it was really, really good. It suffers from, I think, the same things that, you know, some of these Marvel stories suffer from, unfortunately, and I hope hope it gets better. And with the Russo brothers coming back for Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, I feel like it's going to get better, especially with Stephen McFeely coming back as well. Now, I'm going to go into some spoilers, so if you don't want any spoilers, now's your time to jump out. But there's a moment in the movie, it's a really cool moment, with Sebastian Stan. Bucky returns. Joaquin is hurt, right? The new Falcon is hurt. And they're not sure if he's going to make it. And Bucky shows up. And it's really cool because Sam's like, I'm actually like really glad to see you. But here's the deal. I thought when he showed up, I was like, oh, I have a feeling like where this scene's going to go. Because if you think about it, Captain America Brave New World had the potential to basically do a similar story to the Winter Soldier. Well, it was actually in Captain America Civil War, but the Winter Soldier, Bucky himself, right? You have Captain America, you have Steve Rogers and Sam Wilson, who have people that they deeply care about, Bucky and Isaiah, who are brainwashed into doing bad things who they know aren't bad and they're trying to save. I was like, wow, the parallels there. That's really cool. I bet that's what they're going to talk about right here. You know, Steve didn't give up on me even when Hydra had me under control. Steve fought till the end. You're just like Steve. You have that same heart. Don't worry, Isaiah's going to be okay. Or, you know, Falcon's going to be okay. Like, I thought that's how it was going to go. Don't get me wrong. I didn't mind what we got there, and it was really cool to see Bucky, and I felt a good MCU connectivity that I really enjoyed, and it made me feel really good inside. But I feel like that scene could have been a little bit better. It did set up a funny scene later on, though, where Falcon is fighting Red Hulk, and, you know, he's like, Bucky's full of crap. Like, I should have taken that serum, you know? And that scene as well was kind of like, you know, Captain gave people hope, but you give people something to aspire to. And I'm like, I mean, Captain America, Steve Rogers did that too. You can do that too. Like, they can both do the same thing, right? Like, it's the same title, Captain America. You can both give people hope and give people something to aspire to, right? Like, you can do the same thing. Like, there's no shame in being just like Steve Rogers. Like, that's an amazing thing to try and be. He was a great person, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, dude, you should have taken that serum. I think everybody's watching it. It's like, yeah, you know what? You should have taken it. It's really weird to me because it's like, is it like a morality thing? Because, you know, Steve, his morals were all there. They were in the right place. Like, you know, if something he thought was wrong, if he thought something was wrong, he'd go up against it, right? That's civil war. So I'm like, I mean, he took it. Why can't you take it? But that's not really what the movie's about. They do make a few puns about it, which I enjoy. I feel like it was almost like, not quite fourth wall breaking, but they're kind of just like, yeah, we know Falcon doesn't have the serum. How's he going to go up against the Hulk? But when he did go up against him, it was cool, right? I thought it was cool. The vibranium definitely helped, but, you know, he rips the wings off and, you know, kicks them all over the place. And, you know, he's Hulk. And it's the Hulk that I've been waiting for a very long time. And I almost feel like they just couldn't figure out what to do with Mark Ruffalo's Hulk to get him back to the Savage Hulk. And that's why we got this movie, so we could get a Hulk that just rages out and goes ballistic and is angry. Like, Captain America tries to calm him down. He talks about his daughter. He brings him to that place where they used to walk. He's like, you remember this place? Nope, I'm going to beat you up. Like, I'm a Hulk. I just get angry. And I'm like, good. That's what should happen. And then we had kind of a, you know, sun's getting low, big guy type of moment after. So it's like, he tried it at first, didn't work. Then after everything, then it works after they calm him down. That's how they defeat him, which is what I figured. I was like, you're never going to, like, stop him. Even after Sam, like, sticks him, blasts him away for a bit. Sam's, like, covered in rubble. Rough shape. He's like, please tell me I stopped him. The guy gets up. You know, it's a Hulk. He's like, I'm good, right? And I'm more angry now. I can keep going. I can do this all day, right? And then, you know, let's talk to you, calm him down. And yeah, using the daughter to do that is a great way. And, you know, they show throughout the movie, you know, he struggled since Incredible Hulk with her. So that was a good way to do it. So overall, I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was a good watch. Yes, I was bored in some moments in the beginning, but it's exactly what I thought it was, in the fact that I thought it was going to be a pretty decent movie, not a bad movie. I thought it was going to have some problems, but I thought it was going to shine in some moments as well, which is exactly what it did. And that's, again, a good and a bad thing. It's a good thing because it's a solid movie. It's a bad thing because it's not a great, fantastic movie. It's not like a 9 out of 10 for me or an 8 out of 10 for me. I probably give it like a 7.5 out of 10. I had a good time. I think Anthony Mackie did an incredible job. He is Captain America now, and I think they did a good job of showing that. You know, Harrison Ford did an incredible job. The whole cast was really good. The story wasn't there. The CGI wasn't there. Felt a little lackluster at times. But overall, the fighting was really good at the end. It ended in a really good way, and I got to see Hulk again rage out. So it was a good time. If you have seen it, let me know what you thought about it in the comments down below. If you stayed here till the end and you haven't seen it and you've listened to all the spoilers, let me know. Are you still going to go see it? Are you excited more for it or maybe not for it? I don't know. This is my honest opinion about the movie. So go ahead and let me know what you thought in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest Marvel news. We'll catch you all in the next video. Woof woof.